Hey guys, and welcome back to part 16. The previous part was short, but welcome to the Tomo Route, which is going to be the first character route, and apparently we are going through all of the routes before episode 5 and 6, which leads us back to, I think episode 6 is going to be the Nayuta route or something, but without further ado, I expected a choice to appear, by the way, that lets me, pick Tomo, but apparently not. So let's just go.
今、何時だ?
A pitch black room with the curtains drawn tight. I can't even tell if it's day or night. In that room, there was a boy sitting on the bed, wrapped in a blanket and hugging his knees. He had been holed up here for quite some time.
寒い.
The boy muttered quietly, then picked up the air conditioner remote and turned it on. Even I felt that cold. A low humming sound could be heard as the air conditioner began to start up. The boy has almost no sense of the seasons. That's because he hardly ever goes outside. At some point, he became afraid to go outside. Probably the Tomo Route will show us, why, Tomo shifted from the talkative, shy person to the stoic one. I'm afraid to go outside. I'm afraid to meet strangers. I'm afraid to meet people I know. There's no one in this world on my side. That's why I'm afraid of everyone else. I don't want to see anyone. I just want to disappear. He truly wished for that. Just then, a whooshing sound came from somewhere. A static-like noise, like a TV static or a snowstorm. The circle, or the ring, sorry, not the circle. The ring came out of the TV.
No.
Suddenly, the air conditioner stopped working. Blackout? Even the boy seemed to realize that this was an unusual situation. He stood up on the bed and leaned his face close to the air conditioner. Damn!
何なんだこりゃ.
Just as I thought, the noise from earlier had gotten louder again. The air conditioner, which had been turned off, began to rattle and vibrate. Wrapped in a blanket and trembling with fear, the boy stares intently at the air conditioner. Damn, he's going to be melted. Soon, something that looked like red smoke began billowing out of the air conditioner vent. I don't know what billowing is as a word, but okay. November 4.
こうしてルイ9世の死により8回にわたる十字軍の遠征も実質的に終わりを告げ
Word history teacher. Is there like a normal history teacher in this fucking school? In class, I'm lost in thought, half listening to the grand narrative of world history. We had art history, by the way, but, that's totally different. It's November now. About 2 weeks have passed since I reunited with my childhood friends from 7 years ago. Half a month ago, having all but forgotten what happened 7 years ago, I was living a peaceful, boring life with Nayuta, then Yuji, Amamiya, and the others. But when my childhood friends from the past showed up, that everyday life came to an end. Yeah, by the way, where is then Yuji? That monster that attacked us 7 years ago, the entity known as the Other God, has begun to stir once more. Meanwhile, Miko and her former childhood friends were working to defeat that alien god. The person who defeated the other god 7 years ago is no longer here. Instead, a power similar to that other god now resides within us. The power of the other gods, supernatural abilities, the ability to mimic any physical trait. I discovered a power called nerve wire, which allows me to harden my nerves like wire and extend them outside my body. Like, see, this is what I'm saying. Like, why are you explaining things over and over again that we know for 500 gazillion times? Like, 3 episodes were about the nerve wire now. If not 4. The other childhood friends have also manifested their special abilities in their own ways and acquired the power to stand up to the alien gods. And just like 7 years ago, the 6 of us are still performing together as a group. The current group consisted of 6 members, me, Tomo, Mikone, Kyo, Salina or Hime, and Nayuta, who had joined in place of Goto. No. See? They are one and the same. So I glanced over at Tomo. Tomo sat there staring into space, still wearing her headphones. It wasn't even clear if she was paying attention to the lecture. Tomo and I ended up in the same class this year, but until just the other day we had hardly spoken to each other. It's been 7 years since I've been out of touch with my childhood friends. What's more, according to what I heard from Miko and Salina, it was actually me who decided to distance myself from everyone. But I don't really remember much about that myself. I finally remember the memory from 7 years ago with Tomo. Compared to back then, Tomo seems to have changed quite a bit. The only thing that hasn't changed is that back then and now it seems like we are the only close friends we have. As I looked over at Tomo, lost in thought, our eyes suddenly met. That's when we all realized we are on each other's routes. Before we knew it, Tomo and I were staring at each other. Unlike 7 years ago when Tomo always looked nervous, she now wears a blank poker-faced expression. I wonder what Tomo is thinking as she stares at me right now and what she is thinking as she fights Isshin. I didn't understand.
ほら、ミナクラ、何をぼーっとしている?
Obviously, no one would, realize this, in my opinion. Like, if this was a real class, the teacher wouldn't, realize glances. If we were to talk, that would be different, but we didn't. Just then, the world history teacher, who had been passionately lecturing, called out to Tomo, who was staring at me. In the middle of a lecture, too, so it does not make sense. Oh no, I've done something bad. Oh, because I kept staring at them.
まったく珍しく授業に出てると思ったら、ヘッドホンしながら教科書も黒板も見ずに。ちゃんと先生の話を聞いていたのか？確認のために今から質問するぞ。
はい。
イスラムの英雄サラディンにより奪還されたエルサレムを再び奪い返すべく派遣されたのは第何回目の十字軍で、それは何年の出来事だ？
Even if she didn't listen, she's fucking smart, so she will know the answer.
第3回十字軍、1189年から1192年。
When the word history teacher asked the question, Tomo answered without hesitation. I don't know if that answer is right though.
正解だ。
ちなみにこの時の十字軍に参加したのは、イングランドの獅子神王リチャード1世、フランス王フィリップ2世、神聖ローマ皇帝フリードリヒ1世。
She was like, I beg to differ. Get ratioed word history teacher. Or get owned, in this case, like.
わかったわかった。その通りだ。だが、そこまで聞いていない。
Oh, by the way, this entire history started from the Stone Age. As if to say, she had fulfilled her duty. Tomo sat down without a word. The teacher, having been so easily stumped, was left with nowhere to stand. I wonder if Tomo got the answer right because she was actually paying attention in class, or because she already knew the answer without even having to listen. Probably the latter. Now, Tomo, regarded as a child prodigy, finds herself isolated from those around her. The Tomo who used to be inconspicuous, clumsy, and shy in class is no longer here. But in exchange, she seemed even lonelier than before. King Kong.
先輩、お昼ですよ。ご飯食べましょう。
Hey, Nayuta and Tenryuji.
皆様、お久しぶりです。天龍寺玉野です。
Tenryuji, who are you addressing?
気にしないでください。ちょっとした自己アピールですから。
I don't trust Tenryuji, by the way. So, who exactly are you trying to impress? But I had a feeling that if I press the issue any further, I'd be the one who'll lose. Lunchtime. Just like always, Nayuta and Tenryuji showed up and invited me to lunch. Even now, after reuniting with my childhood friend and starting to fight against other gods, this was still just a slice of everyday life, just like before.
おっと、俺のことも忘れないでくれよ。この雨宮春夫様もな。
どちら様でしたっけ？
たった今フルネームで名乗ったじゃん。雨宮だよ。雨宮だけど晴れ男のキャッチフレーズでおなじみの。
おなじみでしたっけ？正直あまり聞き覚えが。
じゃあ覚えて。雨宮だけど晴れ男こと雨宮春夫です。
And today, with Amamiya, whose comedic flair really shines through, I thought he's going to say who I don't even know who is. Joining us, our usual lunch crew was all together. Well then, I guess I have lunch on the rooftop as usual.
トモ先輩も一緒にお昼食べませんか？
Yeah, that would be cool. Huh?
お？
Just then, Nayuta suddenly calls out to Tomo. Amamiya, Tenryuji, and even Tomo, who had been addressed, all stared in astonishment. However, only Nayuta seems completely at ease and continues to talk to Tomo.
私たちいつも屋上でご飯食べてるんですけど、トモ先輩もご一緒にいかがでしょう
？3, 2, 1, I need to go to the restroom.
私はいいから。そうですか？残念です。それじゃ。
Tomo briskly turned her down and walked right out of the classroom.
なゆたちゃん、今の何？
何って、トモ先輩をお昼に誘ったら断られちゃいました。
ていうか、なんでいきなりmina倉を誘ったりしたの？今の一連の流れが理解できないんですけど。
そうですね。いつの間にmina倉先輩と仲良くなったんですか？仲良くなったというか、これから仲良くしていきたいというか。
Amamiya and Tenryuji are baffled by Nayuta's sudden behavior. Well, from their perspective, I guess that's to be expected. Of course, I have a pretty good idea why Nayuta asked Tomo to come along. However, she couldn't explain the details to Amamiya or Tenryuji. Well, whatever, let's just have dinner together as usual, the four of us.
そうですね。トモ先輩はまた今度誘ってみます。袖にされてもめげないなゆちゃんって素敵ですわ。
まあ別にいいけどさ。 なんか置いてけぼり食らってる気がするな。
So in the end, the four of us ended up having lunch together. Oh, so it's chicken rice today. That looks delicious.
それは今日の目玉ですよ。もちろん冷凍食品じゃなくて私の手作りですから。
I'm always putting you out, really.
いえいえ、これも妻の務めですから。
Oh no, probably you always like go overboard. You're not my wife though.
照れもせずにあっさりと、これって倦怠期ですか？
I've definitely gotten used to it by now.
いやーもう、先輩の意地悪。
Hey, stop pushing me. Don't get so close.
君たち、そんなやりとりすらも肌から見ればバカップルでしかないって分かってる？
なゆちゃんはともかく、安藤先輩が無意識なのは腹立ちますよね。
そうそう、ナチュラルにモテモテって感じが憎いぜ。
You guys get along pretty well when you are all ganging up on me, don't you? And so I enjoyed chatting with Noyuta and the others over lunch. At first, we were just talking about lunchboxes and school gossip, nothing serious.
そういえば安藤先輩に雨宮先輩、1年の高山直樹くんってご存知ですか？
Naoki Takayama no. Huh? No, I don't know. What about you, Amamiya?
俺も聞いたことないけど、1年生だったら同じ部活でもないと顔を合わせないしな。
Oh, that's a man. Okay. Probably the flashback that we learned. Amamiya was right. Since I wasn't in any clubs, the only first years I knew were Nayuta and then Yuji. So, what's the deal with that guy? Is he an acquaintance of Tenyuji?
いえ、知り合いというか、同じ図書委員で何度か顔を合わせたくらいなんですけど。
Then looking a little hesitant, Tenyuji lowered her voice and began to speak.
あまり大きな声じゃ言えないんですが、その高山くんが亡くなったという話を聞きまして。
You mean he passed away? The conversation suddenly took an unexpected turn, and I was at a loss for words.
高山くんは1学期の後半からずっと不登校で、学校に来てなかったみたいなんです。だからもちろん図書委員にも顔を出してなくて、それで少し気になってたんですけど。
Is it true that he's dead?
それが学校からの正式な発表はなくて、先生に聞いても口を濁すばかりで教えてくれません。
でもはっきりと答えないってことは逆に何かあるってことだもんな。
ええ、噂では彼はクラスでいじめに遭っていたらしく、それが原因で自殺したんじゃないかということです。
Bullying, school refusal, and maybe even suicide. I guess it's understandable that the school wouldn't want to make that public without careful consideration. I suppose every school has these kind of problems to some extent. Meanwhile, while we are talking about death, this pew 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 you 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 song is playing in the background. When someone dies, you can't just ignore it. That was especially true if it was someone close to me. Was Tenyuji close with that first year student?
いいえ、図書委員で一緒だっただけですから。委員会の時に少しお話しした程度でした。ただ、明るくてひょうきんな人柄でしたので、不登校とか自殺とかいうのが信じられなくて。
Yeah. So that's why you were curious and asked us if we knew anything, right?
はい。暗い話題で申し訳ありません。私、そんなの全然知らなかったよ。同じ学年でいじめがあったなんてことも。 問題のクラスは C 組ですからね。私たちの A 組とはどうも違いますし、無理もないですよ。
そうそう、いじめなんて傍から見てる分には単なるおふざけと区別がつかないもんだって。
That's true. You never know what might trigger bullying. As I said that to myself, I found myself thinking of Tomo for some reason. For some reason, maybe because you are on her route. Tomo also stands out in her current class. While she isn't being bullied, she's clearly isolated. Yeah, I wonder if she got bullied. Usually that's what happens to Kuderis. I turned her down when Naruto asked me to lunch earlier, and if I keep acting like that, eventually... No way, or maybe... By the way, this might be a really harsh thing I'm going to say, but since I love Kuderis so much, I want to thank everyone in visual novels who bullies girls into being Kuderis. I don't know. For some reason, I found myself starting to worry about Tomo. Or starting. After lunch, I told them I had something to do and left Naruto and the others a little early to head back to the school. That matter, of course, referred to the lonely genius girl. Well then, the question is where Tomo is. Bathroom. Once I was back on campus, I looked around for Tomo. I didn't have any plans to meet up with Miko and the others at the abandoned factory for lunch today, so I guess she's probably somewhere on campus. Classroom, girls' restroom, science prep room. I have to check the route guide. I'm definitely know that it's a restroom, but I want to make sure. Be right back. Okay, I just checked and I have to go. Actually, it's a good thing I checked because I have to go to the science prep room, so that's the last one. I don't know if I have to save though, by the way. I don't know what happens if I like I have a feeling it's just like she wasn't there, to be honest, because like this is a route. In the women's restroom. Wait, can I even go in there? Standing in front of the women's restroom, I can't help but make a self-deprecating joke. Even now, I feel like I'm practically crossing the line. It's true that Tomo tends to want to go to the restroom all the time, so I think there's a good chance she's there. Since I can't confirm her whereabouts, I guess I just have to hope she's not here. Seriously, hasn't Tomo fixed that bad habit of her yet? Although Tomo seemed to have changed quite a bit, on the surface there were certainly aspects of her that hadn't changed at all. Oh wait, let's put that aside for now, I need to find her. As for the other places Tomo might go on campus. Okay, so like, yeah, this is how it goes. I'm not going to pick the other one. I'm just going to just like go to the third because that's the thing. Excuse me, Saraishimash, or whatever, Saraishimash. I arrived at the science prep room, gently opened the door and stepped inside. It reminds me of the time I was on duty here before, when Tomo and I prepared for an experiment together. Excuse me, is anyone there? I call out into the dusty preparation room. At first glance, it looks like no one's here.
Nani?
Damn. Well, Tomo, where did you come from?
そこの棚の向こう側の奥だけど。
Tomo, dressed in a white coat, points to the back of the preparation room and replies matter-of-factly. This place isn't very big, but with all the clutter and stuff piled up everywhere, there are a lot of blind spots. Especially since Tomo is short, it was no surprise that she got lost in a pile of stuff and disappeared from view.
今失礼なこと考えてない？
I haven't thought about that.
きっと考えてた。
How did you know that? Are you some kind of psychic or something?
それはスバルくんの方でしょ。
Oh, right. You're right. I guess I'm kind of like a psychic right now. She can peer into... no. I can peer into people's memories and shoot wires from my fingers. I got superpowers that rival those of any comic book hero. But I'm pretty sure Tomo hasn't awakened to superpowers like ours yet.
スバルくんすぐに顔に出るから。超能力者じゃなくてもわかるの。
Is that so? I didn't know that.
それも昔から変わってない。
Tomo looks up at me and smiles shyly. Even though Tomo says that, I think the way she smiles so modestly hasn't changed at all since the old days. And if we can show this side of ourselves to others as well...
ところで、ここへ何しに来たの？
No, I was just wondering what Tomo does during lunch break.
私、
As she spoke, Tomo glanced briefly toward the corner of the preparation room. I turned my head in that direction too, and there was this menacing-looking object that looked exactly like a cannon. Is this the thing where you shoot a net at the alien god?
そう。対偉人用捕獲ネットランチャー。
She named it. Wow, now that you mention it, that actually sounds pretty cool. It really feels like a secret weapon. But why is it here?
私がここで開発してるから。ネットランチャーだけでなく、対偉人用の装備全般を。
Huh? Really? Wait, is it okay for you to just use this place without asking?
ちゃんと学校には許可を得てるから。名目的には課外活動ということになってる。
Extracurricular activities, huh? But considering what we are actually making, I'm surprised they even approved this.
成績優秀者の特権。
Tomo said it as if it were nothing. It wasn't a boast or anything like that, just a statement of fact. Or a matter of fact. Come to think of what the fuck? Come to think of it, back when I was attacked by a demon at school, I threw some mysterious chemical from a flask at the enemy and even pulled out that net launcher. So all that gear was stored gear. From the perspective of the other gods, it was like storming the enemy's stronghold. If Tomo hadn't been there for me back then, who knows what would have happened to me. If things had gone badly, I might have been devoured by the alien god before I even awakened to the power of the Euro wires. Tomo stood her ground, without flinching in the face of the monster known as the Ichin, or Ishin. She was quite different from the Tomo I knew 7 years ago.
用事はそれだけ？
Huh? Well, I guess... To begin with, there wasn't really anything I needed to do. I just can't help but worry about Tomo, who's always alone and isolated. Even when Nayuta invites her to lunch, she turns them down. Oh, come to think of it, Tomo, what about lunch? Have you eaten yet?
うん。カロチンメイトを1箱。
Not that again, I told you, you should eat something more substantial. Come to think of it, the last time someone gave me lunch, it was the stick-type portable meal, wasn't it? Is karate mate really this girl's staple food?
私、食べるの遅いし、好き嫌いも多いから。
Tomo stammered, muttering something that sounded like an excuse. Let me Google what color teammate is, because I'm really curious what you are eating. I'm going to pull up your files. Your Wikipedia page in front of you. Carotene mate. Oh, now I know what color. Okay, calorimate. Okay. To be honest, I don't think this is like that bad. They are like the dry biscuits you get in UK or some shit. But it's not carotene mate, it's calorimate. Huh, that line sounds familiar. I feel like I've heard it before. Come to think of it, you used to eat your school lunch so slowly that you'd still be there at lunchtime, didn't you?
思い出したの。
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. I think it was stir-fried hijiki back then, wasn't it?
うん。ひじき、今でも好きじゃない。
Well, I guess you're right. It's not exactly the most delicious thing in the world, but if you're picky about what you eat, you will never grow up.
この発育の悪さは、それが原因？
Oh, well, I'm not sure. Oh no, I might have said something I shouldn't have. I didn't mean it that way though. Growth aside, you really need to eat properly. It's not good for your health.
そうかな。
That goes without saying. It means you should eat things other than carotene mate, which is calorie mate. I'm going to change that.
前向きに検討してみる。
Good. When people answer like that, it usually means they have no intention of actually considering it.
スバル君も結構鋭い。
You hit the nail on the head. This girl's stubborn in the weirdest ways, isn't she? Even setting aside the whole genius thing, people like this tend to stand out from the crowd. I just skipped the text. I just accidentally skipped the text, but it was something like targets like this, like students like this get put out to unwarranted hostility, I think. Personally, I was still pretty anxious about a lot of things. By the way, I wanted to say this for quite a long time, but like, this is the best school when it comes to like the bell sound, because like, I don't know what goes on in America and like Europe, but it's always like this or something. No, that was phone, sorry. This was a phone sound. But you know, like that ear deafening or like ear rapey like school bell sound, and meanwhile you get this quiet and gentle bing bong sound to, you know, say that like, you know, break is over. Oh, is lunch break almost over? Let's head back to class.
私はいい。ここで作業を続けるから。今作ってる装備の開発を急ぎたい。
I see. If you keep doing that, you will end up isolated from the class again. I couldn't quite bring myself to say it that bluntly. Even if it can't happen right away, I want to help Tomo fit in a little better. I want to help her break out of her current isolation in class. That's what I had come to believe. For now, I kept a low profile and went back to the classroom by myself. But from now on, I try a little harder to help Tomo blend in naturally with everyone else.
先輩、お待たせしました。では行きましょう。
I haven't been waiting at all. Actually, you're the one who should wait. After school, the moment homeroom ends, Nayuta burst into the classroom. That girl was waiting for me in the hallway again. I'm starting to wonder if she's actually attending her homeroom class.
よー、二人さん。今日も二人でラブラブ下校かい？
ラブラブ下校です。
It's not a lovey-dovey walk home, and it's not a lovey-dovey walk home either. What? It's not the same thing over it.
はいはい、ツンデレツンデレ。
I'm not a tsundere. I'm not a tsundere or anything. And tsundere, are you talking about me? What am I supposed to do if I'm a tsundere?
まあでも今日も一緒に帰るんだろ。相変わらず仲のいい子って。
Yeah, I guess so. I'm playing as a tsundere, oh my fucking god. I nod along casually, but even though it looks like business as usual, what I do from here on out is different from before. It's one thing to have a, you know, a tsundere heroine, because I hate tsunderes with all my might, but to play as a tsundere, that's the disrespect a visual novel could do someone. Like imagine, like it's like saying the visual novel is a 10, but you play as a tsundere. It's a 1. I don't care about. Before, Nayuta and I used to take detours on our way home, but lately we have been heading straight to a specific place, which is the abandoned factory. Nayuta and I, who used to be members of the detour club, but still made a point of taking detours on our way home, we are now well engaged in what Tomo called extracurricular activities.
ところでトモ先輩は姿が見えないんですけど。
Oh, if it's Tomo... I find myself unconsciously glancing over at Tomo's seat, even though I know she isn't there. After that, Tomo skipped the entire afternoon class and never came back to the classroom. She might still be in the science prep room, but she might have already gone to that place. When I told her that, Nayuta looked terribly disappointed.
ああ、せっかくだから一緒に行こうと思ったのに。
It seems Nayuta is actively trying to become friends with Tomo. I think that's a good thing for Tomo, but as someone who knows all too well just how pushy Nayuta can be, I had mixed feelings about it.
あのさ、なゆたちゃんって最近なんかミナクラのこと構うよね。
そうですか？別にそんなつもりはないんですけど。
いやいや、明らかに構ってるでしょ。でもなんでまた急に？
それはその。
Faced with Tamamiya's casual questioning, Nayuta stammers. Admittedly, at first glance, there's no obvious connection between Nayuta and Tomo. It's only natural to find Nayuta's behavior puzzling. But I couldn't tell Amamiya about the alien gods or my childhood friends who were fighting them. After all, Amamiya has already been caught up in an incident caused by a Ishin once. The alien god who stormed into the school to target me and Nayuta. He stole Amamiya's memories and was impersonating him. Amamiya doesn't seem to remember what happened back then, but I think that's for the best. If possible, I didn't want to drag any more of my close friends into anything involving the foreign gods. Actually, Tomo and I, or Minakura and I, have known each other since we were kids. That's why Nayuta is trying to get along with Tomo too.
幼馴染？お前とミナクラが？そんなの初耳だぞ。
It's not really worth mentioning, and we hadn't been in touch for quite a while anyway. I decided to explain all that properly. Tomo and I are in the same class, so I'm sure we will have more chances to talk about Ishin at school from now on. To make sure it doesn't sound unnatural, it's best to be honest to some extent. Basically, as long as I don't even mention the foreign gods, I'll be fine.
なんだよそれ。マジで知らなかった。アマミちょっとショック。
That's why it was hard for me to say. We really hadn't been in touch until just recently.
じゃあそれが最近また仲良くなってきたと。
Well, something like that.
そうなんです。だから私もとも先輩と仲良くしたいなって。
ほうほう、なるほど。つまり昔の女と今の女、三角関係が勃発ってわけですな。
先輩、やっぱりそうなんですか？
Yes, it is. No, wait, it's not like that with Tomo. I'm just saying we are purely childhood friends. Seriously, Naruto, why are you taking this so seriously?
だって実は前からちょっと怪しいと思ってたし。
おっといいね、ドロドロの三角関係。やっぱ最後はナイフで刺されないとな。
Don't say such ridiculous and inappropriate things. And so I wasted time trying to calm down Naruto, who had gotten the wrong idea, and Amamiya was egging her on. Or egging her on, not edging. After saying goodbye to Amamiya, who was heading off to club activities, Naruto and I left school and headed for our usual spot. Phew, I'm a little late. Okay, I know that this is another short episode, but it's on me for recording 2 episodes back to back, and also it's on me for recording 2 episodes back to back late at night, because right now it's I think 4 a.m. Yeah, 4 a.m. past 5 minutes. So I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm probably going to return for the next episode or for the next part to just finish the entire Tomo Route. I don't think a route in this game is short, but it's also not longer than a regular episode. So, and I also didn't want to end it just like I end part 15. So thank you guys for watching, and I see you guys in the next episode or part. Ciao.